Bienvenido a un nuevo contenido de Uninorte Co. No olvides suscribirte a nuestro canal.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the fifth version of Cátedra Global, we want to give you a warm welcome to the event Oportunidades, Estudio y Beca en el Exterior by Griffith University, in which we are honored to count with the special participation of Stephen Lewin, Regional Marketing Director of Africa, South America, Australia, and New Zealand. Welcome, Stephen. How are you doing?
Thank you, Fiorella. I appreciate this and the opportunity to support Uninorte in this venture to promote higher education in Australia.
We are pleasured. It's a pleasure to have you here this afternoon and this morning over there. So, Stephen, we can start talking a little bit about the university. So maybe let me ask you a question. Can you tell me a little bit more about Griffin values and student size?
Yeah, sure. Griffith University is a fairly young university. We're under 50 years of age, and one of the core values for opening the university in the first place was to provide a greater access to higher education by challenging the tuition fees that higher education or universities was charging back in the 70s, and to challenge the entry requirements where you needed to have very high grades from high school to get into university back then. So that's been important, and we've kept that today, where tuition fees are typically much lower than many other universities in Australia, and where we've had extra support available at the university to provide students that are not a straight A student to come into university and still succeed. Other values that are really important to the university is to provide degrees that have a future focus. So we are committed to creating an equitable and environmentally sustainable society. The university is the first university in Australia to offer international studies with an Asian focus, with studies in China, as well as the first university in Australia to offer environmental studies. Another value that's really important to us is to provide degrees to prepare students and graduates for employment. So we include real-life industry experiences in our degrees and have a great number of employability initiatives to help students be job ready by the time they graduate. And this in turn is hopefully creating global citizenship. So our degrees also have an international focus and prepare students for work anywhere in the world. I mentioned that we're a large university. In fact, we've got around 50,000 students, and we're a government university with around 8,000 international students from 130 different nationalities across 6 campuses.
That sounds great. So, can you tell us how is Griffin ranked globally?
I get this question a lot. When comparing ourselves with other young universities that in that age group of under 50, Griffith is ranked in the top 50 of the world. So the Times Young Universities rankings rank Griffith 30 in the world, and the QS top 50 under 50, Griffith is ranked 33. But when comparing ourselves with all in higher education institutions around the world or universities, and there are over 10,000 universities, Griffith is comfortably ranked between 200 and 300 of all the major ranking systems, the World University Rankings, the Leiden Rankings, QS, the National Taiwan, the Shanghai Jiaotong, all rank Griffith in the top 300 of the world. But when asking yourself about rankings, I think it's important to look at not only the university ranking, but also the subject rankings. So when looking at subjects that Griffith deliver, nursing and midwifery is the top ranked area of study, which is currently number 2 in the world and number 1 in Australia. Hospitality and tourism management is ranked number 3 in the world and number 1 in Australia. And marine and ocean engineering is ranked 8 in the world and the second top in Australia. But while those are in the the top 50, there are another dozen or 20 other areas of study that are ranked in the top 150, including development studies, education, law, political sciences, and other areas that are really popular in Colombia: business administration, political science, computer science and engineering, environmental science and engineering, and some of the health sciences like pharmacy and ecology are in that top list. So I think that's important for students to ask. A further question that students could ask themselves when thinking about prestige and awards and citations is also to look at the teaching awards of universities. Griffith has received more Australian awards for university teaching than any other university in Australia since 2012. So that includes 3 Australian University Teacher of the Year awards, 8 Teaching Excellence awards, 6 awards for programs that enhance learning, and 42 citations for outstanding contributions to student learning.
Okay, it sounds great. So, can you tell us if Griffin is a multi-campus university, right?
Yeah, so there are 6 campuses in total, 5 physical campuses and 1 digital campus. The most popular campuses for students in your region would definitely be the Gold Coast, the first campus, the opening campus, Nathan, and where all students are starting at the moment being the digital campus. The Gold Coast, being the largest campus, has around 18,000 students, and it's grown in popularity, especially when the Australian government recently reclassified the Gold Coast as a regional centre. So this allows international students who live and study at the Gold Coast campus to access an additional year of post-study work rights and stay in Australia for a total of 3 years after graduating. The first campus where Griffith opened is at Nathan, which is just in the outskirts of the central business district of Brisbane. There are about 13,000 students, and it opened in 1975 with degrees in business and government, engineering, environment, law, science, and even aviation is delivered out of this campus. It's also the host to key research centres committed to sustainability, Asia, and the emerging biosciences. And then there's the digital campus, which is the 3rd largest campus and definitely the fastest growing these days. The digital campus offers students to study anywhere at any time. It doesn't mean that students need to be logged in online all the time at the same time as Australia. They can, students can study and have the flexibility of many study options. The services, learning access, the online library, the learning environments and platforms, dedicated IT support is available 24/7. But importantly about the digital campus is that it's the same academics delivering the same content as students studying on campus.
Okay, so how are students offshore studying classes at the moment?
Well, the idea is to start online and finish on campus. So we've got a large number of students, of our international students, who have started their degrees online, and they are learning through video demonstrations, recorded lectures, live lectures, self-access tutorials, live peer mentoring. There are guest lectures continue, case-based learning is available, simulations, virtual tours, role-playing, and work-integrated learning are all available to students through various very intelligent platforms. One is My Griffith, which is a personal student portal, and this gives students access to their daily schedules and exams, timetables, grades, and they discover events and activities on campus through this student administration portal. The other really important portal that students interact with every day would be the Learning at Griffith, and this gives students access to their specific course sites, or where they will see lecture notes, recordings of lectures, other useful resources, the online tests and exams, assessment, submission, etc. And marks and feedback is also given to students through that online portal. So some of the other platforms that students will access through those is software called Echo 360, which allows students to see their lecture, the slides that the lecturer is presenting, transcripts, as well as extra links and hyperlinks that students can access throughout the lecture to extend their learning. These lectures are recorded, so students can pause or fast forward or rewind, and will have that lecture available through the whole trimester, which is much more convenient than just the old days of a 50-minute lecture being 8:30 on a Monday morning, and that was it. You didn't have it again. Other software has really expanded the way students connect with their academics and other students through Collaborate Ultra, and Microsoft Teams is also included within students' login details, and this is used for many other groupings around the university.
Okay, so at the beginning you mentioned employability being important for graduate outcomes. How is Griffin helping students who are studying online build connections?
And I think that's really important. It's that connections, because students will look for jobs when they often get here by looking in the web, notice boards or on websites. But the vast majority of jobs in Australia and overseas, I dare say, are not actually advertised. It's all about word of mouth. So having connections in place is really important. And we've got a wide range of programs through formal and informal to help students get connected so that they've got work opportunities through their degree while they're studying, as well as after they graduate. So there is a work integrated learning program. There is an opportunity for students to connect with internships and have industry placements even when they're starting the degree online. The Griffith Industry Mentoring Program is available, which gives access to industry leaders and with one-to-one consultations, guiding students in learning much more about the industry that they're interested in. And then we've got a fantastic careers and employment service, which offers a very wide suite of services to students to help them find part-time work while they're studying and full-time employment after or as they start to transition into the workplace. But in addition to that, students, it's important that they connect with other students and groupings around the university to get that word of mouth. There is the International Student Buddy Program that's designed for that. There's also the award-winning Griffith English Language Enhancement Strategy, which has components that support students throughout their studies. That enhances their communication skills, as well as peer-assisted study sessions where students who have already passed subjects very well then guide students who are new to the area of study and need that extra assistance. But there's also very informal gatherings with students with Instagram Live events. There are online competitions. There are weekend watch parties where students virtually gather to watch movies and have competitions or listen to music, etc. So there are lots of ways that students can and should connect with the university and students.
Okay, so what areas of study does Griffin offer, and are all the programs available next trimester?
Griffith is a comprehensive university, so by design, so we purposefully offer a very wide range of study areas that cover architecture, construction, planning, criminology, education, IT, engineering, business, government, the humanities, a very wide range of health and allied health sciences, music and performing arts, science and environment, and visual and creative arts. During this period where students are joining us online, there are certain components of degrees that are really difficult to replicate in their own home or wherever they're studying. So some degrees will not be available. The advanced computer-assisted software in architecture, for example, is one of those degrees that makes it very difficult to deliver, and so we won't be delivering that to students offshore. Some other programs have vital clinical placements that we cannot, that students won't have access to. So there'll be some areas like nutrition or medical science or dental health science, occupational therapy, which will make it very difficult to deliver online. So that has limitations. But I think the vast majority, though, of our degrees are available online, and including, importantly, for a lot of your students at Norte, is the Master of Information Systems and IT Management and the Master of Information Technology. Both these degrees, there is a special arrangement between your university and mine that allows students to start their degree in Colombia and finish their degree at Griffith University with 1 year of credit. So students would study for 1 year with Uninorte or 1 year of study with Griffith, and that includes students interested in enterprise architecture or data analysts, analytics, information systems and business analysis, networking and security, and software development and support.
Okay, thank you very much. Is Griffin offering English preparation programs during this period?
Yes, some people, think that it might be difficult to study English, that it's essential to be face-to-face with a teacher, an English teacher in a classroom. But in fact, we are delivering and have been delivering our English program onshore as well as offshore. And students will still have access to the face-to-face learning with academics. So so that is still available. I'm fully aware that there is an agreement, excuse me, I've been a little ill myself. So there is an agreement in place with our universities to offer special fees depending on the length of study between our universities that allows students to study between 1 and 10 weeks for a rate of $336, between 11 and 20 weeks for $294 per week, or for those students wanting to study longer, over 21 weeks, at a weekly tuition fee of $252. And so this is still available to your students through this period.
Okay, so what are the scholarship opportunities for 2021?
The university has invested greatly in recognizing that there is a lot of financial hardship, especially with international students, and it has invested significantly. There are 3 main scholarships available to international students right now, and it's all academic merit based. So for those students who are deemed at a 5.0 on a 7 scale without an application, the admissions team will automatically offer a 20% tuition fee reduction, and that'll be including students taking up the credit arrangement that we have with those postgraduate IT areas. For those students that are deemed slightly higher at 5.5 on a 7 scale, the tuition fee covers 25% of the fees for the duration of the program. And then there's the premium scholarship, the Griffith Remarkable Scholarship, which is worth 50%. And this does require a separate application, though, and a personal statement. And this is very competitive. There are far fewer of those scholarships available. So students with very high grades are encouraged to apply for the Remarkable Scholarship and hopefully be awarded that 50% scholarship on the duration of the degree. We also have been offering a 15% scholarship for those students who are currently enrolled and in continuing their enrollment, excuse me, from one trimester to the next. And for those students that have special exemption to travel to Australia, which are mainly students in the medicine program and a couple of others, Griffith has committed a $2,000 contribution towards the cost of their airfare and quarantine when they arrive in Australia. But there's I guess the offerings to students have not just been about the scholarships. There's also been a lot of other options that have been introduced since COVID to help make it a little easier, excuse me, for students, including tests like Duolingo, the Cambridge Lingua Skill, the IELTS indicator test, and even the TOEFL Home Edition, where it's been more difficult to find an official English test, and as well as accepting provisional or predicted academic results if students can't get access to official transcripts from their institutions, and to have more flexibility in our policies regarding reduced deposits for students to start their enrollment process, and other policies related to withdrawing. We've made that easier for students as well.
Okay, so what's happening on campus right now? Are students onshore now on campus?
Yeah, for sure. We're very lucky here. Our government has been quite strict on controlling international borders, but that has meant that Australians and others since living here have enjoyed a greater amount of freedoms that is not available in many other countries. So even since as early as May last year, students and staff are going back on campus. In July, there was some more flexibility, and by August last year, all students on campus were able to go back to campus. There will be there's some changes. So the future looks like it'll depend a lot on vaccine rollout and availability globally, not just here in Australia, which will hopefully result in resumption of air travel. And then we can look at the safe return of international students into Australia. At the same time, it's a priority for the university to try to get our students outbound and enjoying their opportunities of study abroad, and extending the virtual options that they're currently enjoying. The future definitely looks like blended delivery of learning and teaching, even for students onshore. For example, the recorded lectures will continue. They're too convenient not to continue. Students are enjoying that, the flexibility of that too much. And things like graduations and other celebrations are also in a blended mode, providing greater flexibility. Regardless, it'll always be about commitment to student success, and that'll be at the core of all decisions that are made about students joining the university in the future.
Okay, perfect. So, Stephen, we have two questions on our chat. So the first one is regarding the visa process. How is the visa process?
So once a student enrolls in the program or applies for a program, they then accept that offer, excuse me, with a payment of a deposit. They will then receive what's known as a COE, or a confirmation of enrollment, and that allows students to then apply for a visa. The visa process is relatively straightforward in your part of the world. It's generally considered, for visa purposes, a low-risk country, and an e-visa is applied for and issued. Students are more than welcome to apply directly, but we do have a partnership with Norte and Latino Australia Education, or LAE, who are experts with the local office there, helping students with their applications and their visa process. So, and that's a free service that that I encourage students to take up.
Okay, perfect. We have another question that is regarding the requirements. What are the requirements for the Uninorte students, especially for the master's degree, to apply at Griffin?
We've tried to refine the application process to make it as easy as possible for students. There are typically no external exams required apart from an English test, or students don't need to have a massive CV with lots of student association president or other very high achieving athletes or anything like that to get into a program. We publish our requirements so students can see and have a level of transparency where if a student meets a minimum requirement, they will be granted an offer into a degree if it's available. So a typical application would require an application form, the academic transcripts, a confirmation of a degree, probably a copy of the passport, just so that we've got the spelling of names and dates of birth. They're absolutely perfect. But basically, that's enough for our admissions team in most cases to be able to assess an application for admission.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. I think we don't have any more questions here over the chat, but we will share your, in case we have any other students interested in applying in Griffin, we will share your contact so they can contact you in order to, so you can give them all the information. So thank you very much for your special participation and valuable contributions. And also we thank our viewers for participating in this version of Cátedra Global Uninorte. We would like to invite you to keep watching our different Cátedra Global schedule. We will be having Cátedra Las Américas on the 13th of May and Cátedra Africa on the 10th of June. So thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Los siguientes contenidos de Uninorte Co te pueden interesar. No olvides suscribirte a nuestro canal.